All right, we are now recording. We're convening the June 21st meeting of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Subcommittee for the Clark County Charter Review Commission. Looks like we don't have a quorum, so we're going to have some discussion and probably have a very short meeting here. So yeah, going by the agenda, we don't really have much that we had been working on. I'll give an update. Terry in particular has been with one foot in the communications subcommittee, one foot in this one, being kind of the lead for pushing messaging about the survey out to various communities in Clark County that we wanted to be sure to invite, as well as other outreach being done by other communications subcommittee members and charter review commissioners. The two things I wanted to chat about today was just the drafting of the DEI amendment for if we want to have it sent to the drafting subcommittee, we need to clean it up a little bit. And my thought on that was to take what we have and put it a little bit more in the format that would be more appropriate for an actual amendment. And I don't know if you'd want to talk through that now. I kind of thought I would just try to put something together and then send it to the subcommittee for notes, if that worked for you, just for getting something together. I know we put it out there not so much as an amendment, but more to elicit feedback from the community survey and the listening sessions during the town halls. We haven't seen the information from the survey yet, but from talking to folks, it sounds like a lot of people are supportive of both so far. Okay. And my thought was to have the amendment be for the office and have the commission be something that the officer could do as part of their duty, depending on their understanding and knowledge of best practices with DEI work, that they could be the one to convene an advisory board or commission, and it wouldn't be necessarily a mandated part of the charter. So, do you have any thoughts on that one?
So I recall there were three parts. There was an officer or administrator or director of a program. Yep. There was an office supporting the program, and then the commission or committee. I look at the charter, and there's actually three commissions specifically called out. Planning Commission, the Board of Equalization, and Historic Preservation Commission. So I could see a couple things. One is it depends really on how much we want to elevate it. Because if you call it out in the as a structure in the charter, then it's there and it's specifically a requirement. If you leave it as an advisory thing for the administrator and basically let the administrator and the program figure it out, that could be put in as a for instance type of list of things that they could do. Yeah. So it really just depends on how much we want to structure it and elevate it.
Yeah, my inclination is really to give. So the reason I came to that one was because the advisory board or commission kind of wouldn't be very useful without a center kind of driving it at the county level. So it's kind of like, to be most effective, we need to have an office or director, whatever word we want to use, in order to help that out. So it's kind of like we need that piece for the other. And then the thought is just that to give that person in their professional expertise the option to form that based on their best understanding of practices in the area, rather than us trying to write and mandate. I'm inclined to be a little bit more hands off in that structural piece.
Okay, so that's like Snohomish County, their Human Rights Commission is specifically called out in the charter. And so that's an example of elevating it to a structural proposal. I suppose you could just combine everything, or the other two items is to establish an office of DEI with an administrator or director, and basically list out a few things that they could do. I don't know if you how much you want to um, specify in that language, but you could just combine it as the office comes with an administrator, and just leave it at that.
Yeah. I'm thinking, it's kind of a first step thing that could be grown in the future, and that's really the most important part is having that one administrator for that element.
Yeah, that way it's kind of a it's more like a baby step. I mean, my original thought was kind of a grand statement that we want to elevate these listening sessions and this issue of systemic racism into something that's elevated at the county manager type level, both internally and externally. That I understand. I can see that there's a risk to doing that because the people say, well, you have nothing and all of a sudden you have this really big thing that we really don't know what we're getting into. And so creating the office with an administrator and leaving it at that, I think is a good kind of a middle road approach for now. If they want to in the future come in and propose or work with the Charter Review Commission um, as a charter amendment next time, to make it more formalized and elevated, that would give them that opportunity at least to grow the program and mature it before they
Yeah.
get into that. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with that approach.
That sounds good. I think that's a little more digestible and a little more likely to find support, and less of us commissioners trying to micromanage
Hmm.
what that program person would do. I suppose one question would be, and this probably we'll need to run it by the rest of the subcommittee as well, but there's where it's placed matters as far as who's overseeing it, and generally, it's not a great practice to have this kind of office directly under the council. But if it was parallel to the to the county manager, that would kind of default be under the council. So I think probably it would have to be under the county manager section, the executive branch.
Well, I think if we were going to elevate this and make a grand statement like I originally had thought,
Yeah.
I would have made it an appointed position under the county council because that means they're formally supporting or designated somebody to take that on and recognize that it's a big deal. Putting it under the county manager would be similar to like Commission on Aging, Solid Waste Commission, where
Hmm.
you have the county manager making the appointments that are confirmed by the council, and that the putting under county manager then allows that to be directed internally, maybe through HR practices, but also since the county manager oversees the external services and functions, I think that would work as well. So I think putting it and listing it in the executive one under county manager or somewhere, and we can figure that out where specifically it would go, but in the
Okay.
county manager section, I think would be good.
Yeah, that's making sense to me. And that's kind of what I've seen reflected in other local jurisdictions as well. A lot of them uh, basically treat it as a department. So it's like, public health, public works,
Hmm.
equity, diversity, and inclusion. Even if it's small, it's kind of at that level. And that seems to track with what's been working for some other communities too.
Well, and they, like City of Vancouver, I don't believe their new DEI position is called out specifically in the charter.
Yeah, I tried looking for that. I couldn't find.
Yeah, um, it's not in their charter because they haven't had a charter amendment lately, that would have done that. They just created that office
Choosing
under
to.
the city manager and then appointed somebody in that role. So it would be akin to what the city of Vancouver is doing, although in our case, it's a specifically designated department called out by the charter, which I think does elevate that stature a little bit, and recognizes it. We also will need to. I've been encouraging the other subcommittees to kind of give an introductory statement as to why this is being proposed, rather than just here's what's being proposed, but in the explanatory statement, 1 or 2 sentences that give a background. Why is this being proposed now?
Yeah, that one I wrestle little bit with, because it makes total sense to explain, how we decided to do this. But it's hard to do that without like trying to sell it.
Well, it's not really. See, in my business where we do projects, we work under something called NEPA, or Environmental Policy Act. It's basically, if we do an EIS, we need we need a purpose and need statement, which is why. It's not
Okay.
it's not the why statement doesn't say we need to build light rail. It says we have these problems that are causing us to need to do something that corrects these problems. So it's like a problem statement. And I think we could, if you want to take a stab at that, I can help you kind of word it so that it is not coming across as campaigning for the measure, but it's more of, we've had, we're seeing in current circumstances the need to resolve or need to address diversity or social equity or something like that
Okay.
in what's going on, and also noting that other agencies around the area already have created such a program, and just basically puts the county on par with them. So there was a reason it brought us here, and that's what I think I would suggest, rather than say you need to vote yes because this is a good idea.
Hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
And again, I can help you with that, and we'll go through the drafting committee. We'll be looking at it Friday night as well.
Yeah.
What I don't know is, I haven't seen, I'm assuming that Merrily and others have started summarizing the survey. I'd like to see what some of the comments are in the survey, because I think those are going to be somewhat, we need to talk about what they are saying, people are saying, especially about DEI, and how do we address that in our proposal.
Yeah, I kind of wish we could look at those comments already, but I guess
Yeah,
we have to wait.
unfortunately, I'm not getting, I want to have a discussion with Maureen to get her ready for somebody in the communications group being able to present a summary of the survey and public comments at the front part of our agenda on Wednesday night. And then the second part, we're actually going to have a discussion with the full commission, have each of the commission members weigh in as what they heard, what they would suggest as far as getting to the subcommittee. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It's a matter of, a very crunched schedule, but I think
Yeah.
we can only speculate at this point based on what we've heard in previous town halls or in any other meetings that people might have had, just to get us ready for Wednesday. But I think if whatever you do, I think we could have, if it's ready by Wednesday, to at least discuss, or tomorrow, if you want to prepare something for the subcommittee to look at and weigh in on, um, then I think that's okay, because then we can discuss it Wednesday night, and then I don't know if there's time to get a formal DEI committee set up and put on the county calendar by Thursday, but we could at least email around with a discussion.
I think it'll have to be. Yeah. Okay.
The other option is, we've got next Monday to follow up, because Tuesday we want to finalize our first read ballot language for the meeting on the 30th. So if we have the luxury of having at least 3 people who are on the drafting committee, part of this committee next Monday, we can easily just decide, here's what we want to change, and then work it in very quickly so that we don't lose any time.
okay. I think it'll work out okay. I know Maureen and Dorothy are going to have a deep dive into the survey stuff and have that ready for Wednesday.
Yeah.
It'll be most helpful, though, I think, when we can all actually take a look through the answers ourselves and read what people had to say. I'm looking forward to. It's going to take a while to get through however many hundred responses there are, but
Yeah, and I honestly, I don't know. It was 130 as of the first 24 hours after the
right.
survey was released. That's the last number I heard.
So
So,
we'll see. That'll be good to see. Okay. Well, I'll check in then directly with Jeff and Kim and Terry, let them know what we talked about and see what they have to say. I'll put together just a new draft of the general stuff for the DEI amendment, and we can work on it from there, I think, based on
all
their
right.
feedback and what they have to say. Um, the other thing I was going to bring up in this meeting was people, are curious about the costs and savings of having a DEI office. We talked a little bit about that here in other meetings, um, and I think we generally seem to have landed just on we cannot predict with accuracy, and we cannot really dictate what exactly it will look like in the budget, but we can offer examples of what other jurisdictions have done and how much it cost them. So I was going to see if we could pull something together with examples, and I think Terry might have had a couple. Um,
Yeah, it was hers was more. I think one was Multnomah County, but it was a little more private sector focused, and that this is different. We are bringing on. We have an intern.
yeah,
And so this is one area where we can assign her to do some research to
great.
look at because to me, I don't think I want to get into the area of trying to do risk assessment and figure out what the avoidance of future lawsuits would be, like some people have talked about. That's not our area.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
can't
want
get
to
too
venture
specific
into
on
that
that.
area. And the other option is this gets, if this gets approved, it would be up to the county manager to decide, well, we can work this with the existing staff or rearrange like a policy analyst into the position and let them deal with the budget implications of it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I think that sounds like a good task for the intern then. Some good
All right.
research and useful. Great. So I guess that's all I have. I don't have a good of the order on the agenda, but you have anything else you'd like to add there, Chuck?
No, I think we're good. I think this is just a quirk of everything because of Terry's having to go to California and Kim having a work thing. I think you might want to poll the members because we have some members who I don't think have ever attended a meeting. And I guess, is it better to maybe we hold next week's meeting after 5 o'clock or something so that we can get better attendance?
Yeah, I'll check in because we had the doodle poll at the start, and we had all five of us at the first meeting, but it hasn't
Hmm.
happened again
Yeah,
after that.
I don't know
So
what's going on, but things just haven't appeared as the doodle poll would have indicated.
yeah, well, we'll figure that one out, and yeah, I'll check in with each of them and see where they are with that. And so and for that matter, would 5 o'clock on Monday work for you?
Let me just double check now they say that because I think I've been trying to keep my evenings open until July 7th, just in case we have this. So yeah, I'm open. Whoop, that's tonight. Next Monday. Yep, I'm open. So I can do it.
All right, well, I'll chase down the others and see what we can do then.
All right,
All right, great. So,
that's good.
all right, adjourning the meeting.
All right. Thank you, Chris.